Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today on our live demo session, Get Powerful Insights into Power BI and Shared Channels with SysKit Point. My name is Patrick, and I'm Sales Manager here at SysKit. Today we'll be joined by our software engineer, Josip, who will be showing us the latest additions to SysKit Point. Many of you already know us as a company, but for those who don't, let me briefly introduce you to SysKit. SysKit is a software development company founded more than 13 years ago. We create innovative software solutions for Microsoft 365 and SharePoint. We currently have more than 3,800 customers around the world. Before we start, just a few housekeeping items. All registrants will receive a recording of the demo session. We will have a Q&A session after Josip's presentation, so please use the Q&A function to ask any questions, and please don't be shy. For those that are new to SysKit Point, it is a management and governance platform for Microsoft 365 that helps companies get better control over user access, centralized inventory, and management across multiple Microsoft 365 workloads, and helps enforce governance policies from the resource creation to its end of life. Today, Josip will be focusing on our newest features in SysKit Point. The first feature is Power BI inventory and permissions reports that let you see your entire Power BI inventory and dig deeper into permissions and workspaces. Josip will then show you SysKit Point's shared channels reporting that allows you to find all shared channels and see who has access to them. Now, with no further delay, we will turn things over to Josip to show us the latest improvements with SysKit Point. Josip, are you ready?
Yes, I am. Hopefully you see me. Can I get just a green light from you, Patrick, about the screen as well?
Josip, we can see you. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Josipa. So again, even in my name, thank you for having me here and welcome to this presentation. Hopefully you will get something out of it and you will see how the newest capabilities of SysKit Point help you in achieving some really important tasks into keeping your environment in check. So let's start. First off, let's kick off the demo with the Power BI capabilities of SysKit Point. So with the newest version of SysKit Point, you will be able to scan and get an overview over your complete Power BI environment. What that means is that you will be able to see content inside of each workspace you have in your tenant and the relationships of the content inside of each one of them. Of course, nothing can go without having a clear overview of the permissions granted on each of those resources. So when I talk about Power BI resources, I of course talk about dashboards, reports, data sets, data flows, and data sources. Additionally, some additional metadata that you will be able to see is you will be able to identify endorsed content, as well as seeing some more standard metadata like seeing who created each resource, when it was created, when it was last modified, and so on. And due to the way SysKit Point works and continuously syncs your Power BI environment, all the information about your Power BI environment, you will be able to stay up to date with any modifications. From SysKit Point. So by default, the Power BI collection or sync is not enabled, but it's really easy to set up, as I will give you a brief overview of what is needed to do. When I talk about the various Power BI capabilities in SysKit Point, I mainly think about how we are able to scan that environment and all the various reports we implemented in this version that will help you to get a grip on your data. So The reports that we generated are Power BI created are Power BI workspaces, where you will be able to see which workspaces exist in your tenant. With the Power BI inventory report, you will be able to drill down on each of those resources and to see which content exists there, what the relationships between each of the resources are. For example, if you have a dashboard that is containing displaying information from 5 reports, you will be able to see that inside of the inventory report. With the Power BI permissions report, we will be able to inspect permissions given on each resource, which means that you will get from one screen, you will be able to analyze the whole workspace, as opposed with the current way Microsoft is providing in their web application, in their screens, which takes a little bit more clicks. But rest assured, the whole experience is much better in SysKit Point. As with any other report in SysKit Point, these reports scheduling and exporting these reports is fully supported. So you will be able to share those reports even with people who are not necessarily given access to SysKit Point. And the reports for now are only available for SysKit Point admins, but we might consider adding more granulated access to them if needed. So just a quick overview view under the hood of how SysKit Point is managing to grab the data. More or less, what SysKit Point does, it is periodically, once per day, scanning and storing all Power BI related metadata. That means information about all the workspaces, all the reports, dashboards, data sets, data flows, and data sources that exist in your Power BI environment. As well with the metadata about those resources. It's also worth noting that we have information about how they relate to each other and what the permissions given to each of those resources are. And then you as admins, you as end users, will be able to surface Power BI data through SysKit reports, and you will be able to, as I said, export them if you want to, and in the end make decisions about your Power BI environment based on the data that SysKit Point provides for you. So let's jump to a quick demo about SysKit, about the newest Power BI capabilities. So let me open SysKit Point, but before opening SysKit Point, let's just take a quick look about how I would go to inspecting my Power BI sales workspace in the Microsoft Power BI website. So as you can see here, now I'm in the sales workspace. If I wanted to inspect the sales workspace and the permissions given to the sales workspace, I would click on this access button, and I would see on this sidebar who the members or who the users that have access on the workspace are. Additionally, I can see the content inside of each workspace, where I can see a bunch of dashboards, reports, as well as data sets and data flows. For example, what if I wanted to take a look of which people have permission on the opportunity analysis sample report? I will need to click on these 3 dots and go to manage permissions. And here I would be able to see who has direct access to this report. As you can see, a bunch of these users are just copied from the workspace level, but I see that, for example, the Partner Capital group and Project Falcon group do not really are here unique amongst these users because they are not present on the workspace permissions level. So here, luckily, there are no sharing links to this report, but I'm sure you can see how many clicks it would take to get the grip on the whole permission tree on only this one workspace. Imagine if we have thousands of reports in one workspace or thousands of workspaces. So it would take a long time to export that data to get a grip of who really has permissions in these Power BI on the Power BI environment. How SysKit Point helps you with that is by, as I said a little bit couple of minutes before, we created 3 distinct reports that might help you with achieving having an overview of your Power BI environment. So the first one is the Power BI workspaces, which in itself is a really basic report, but you can see which kind of workspaces there exist, and some basic data as what the number of the owners are, what the number of the members is, how many dashboards there are in each workspace, reports, data sets, data flows, and so on. For example, much more interesting reports are these 2. So let's dive into the Power BI inventory report. And here I am given a quick overview of the resources that exist under the sales workspace. So if I wanted, for example, to add the type column, I can even see what the type of all these resources is. If you're not really familiar or these icons are not really intuitive for you. But in any case, I can see that I have 4 dashboards, 4 reports, a couple of data flows, and some data sets as well. For example, if I wanted to take a look at the opportunity analysis sample dashboard, I would be able to see what all the different tiles in the opportunity analysis sample dashboard are. So here, for example, since this is a pretty basic demo environment, all the dashboard tiles come from just one report. But I imagine, I hope you can imagine that you would here have a bunch of different reports where you would be able to see from where those tiles, from where this information comes from. I can also see who created those tiles, as well as any other resource, when it was created. And let's just take a look what data do we have here as well. Who it was modified by, when it was modified, the endorsement columns, and who it was endorsed by. Since this is a demo data, some of these cells are missing, but rest assured that you will find complete data here with any production resources. So yeah, this is the inventory report. So now let's generate a Power BI permissions report for the same workspace. So clicking on the appropriate button, I'm given this Power BI permissions report. Here, the main focus is to see the permissions given to each resource. So if I, for example, let's just collapse everything and let's go just one by one. Here on the workspace, under the workspace, I'm able to see who the members of the workspace are. I'm able to see that Bruce Lee is a contributor, for example, that Eva is an admin, and I have how many? So 2 members, 3 members, and Mary Fern, who is a viewer. Also, we are able to see the finance and payroll processing groups that I can further drill down to if I wanted to, and see who really the members of those groups are, and who in the end are those users who have access to the workspace. If you remember, that's not something that you will be able to see from the Microsoft website. In any case, if I wanted to see, for example, the opportunity analysis sample report that I showed you there as well, you will be able to see that even the partner capital and project Falcon groups are here as well, but they're not here on the workspace level. So I'm able to see that this opportunity analysis sample has some unique permissions that are not necessarily inherited from the workspace level. And as well, since they are groups, we are drilling down to them and we are displaying you the members of those groups. For example, if I wanted to search for Mary, I would be able to see where Mary has access across this workspace. And there I would be able to see, for example, even though Mary is a viewer on the workspace level, on some of the resources, she is given some additional permissions. For example, in the customer profitability sample, she is given additionally the reshare permission, and the same thing goes here on the report of the same name. And yeah, let us inspect what else. We don't have any more columns here, but that's about it from the permissions report as well. Of course, if I go back to the reports, I can even generate the same report for multiple workspaces, so no need to just go one by one. From this report, I can even select for which resource types I'm interested in. For example, we might not care about the data flows, so let's run the report, but without the data flows present, and I'm able to see 2 workspaces, and that is 3 workspaces, and the permissions given to them and to the resources contained in them. Yeah, so let's go back to the presentation, and let's continue with the next part of the demo, that is Microsoft Teams shared channels. So as many of you already know, and I'm sure all of you are familiar with the addition of the third type of channels inside of Microsoft Teams. So after standard and private channels, here come shared channels. They're just now moving into general availability, and Microsoft tells us they expect a complete rollout somewhere mid-August, so like in 20 days or something. By default, also worth mentioning is that shared channels are enabled by default, so keep that in mind. But what shared channels are there for is, as opposed to private channels, where the members of the private channel are just a subset of the members of the team. With shared channels, you are able to collaborate with people outside of the team. And even with people outside the organization itself. So something like external users, but you are able to collaborate from people from any different tenant. And if they have Microsoft Teams integrated, they're even able to see your shared channel in their Microsoft Teams client in their tenant as well. So those people outside of your organization inside of the shared channels are treated as regular members and can perform the same actions as internal employees. That means that they're even able to access the shared channel SharePoint site, and that they're able to see all the files contained inside of this and shared inside of the shared channel. And yeah, regarding the SharePoint site, like with private channels, with each shared channel, there's a separate SharePoint site being created for every shared channel you create or your employees create. So the support for shared channels is SysKit Point is, as you see, from the get-go, since the support is already now live. And with what you will be able to see from SysKit Point is to see which teams have shared channels, and you'll be able to inspect each shared channel to see the members inside of them, even those people outside of your organization, and as well the content that is being shared around in the shared channel. So let's jump again to the demo. Okay, so I'm back to SysKit Point. First off, let's go to the user overview report, and here you can see a new column being added, which is the external user type. If I filter by the external user type, I am able to see who are those shared channel users who became part of our, so to say, tenant only because they're members of a shared channel. So in this our demo environment, we have Adele, myself, and Miriam as shared channels that are outside of this tenant. As you can see, the domain name is different than the domain name present here, which is SysKit.d in this example. Okay, so here I'm able to see who those shared channel users are across the whole environment. Now, let's go to the Microsoft Teams and Groups report, and let's see what we have here. So another new column that we added is the shared channels column, which is telling us what the number of shared channels in each team is. So I can sort by this column. If I sort in the decreasing way, I'm able to see that the project Heimdall has 2 shared channels, and the creatively named team with shared channels team has only 1 shared channel. So let's take a look at the project Heimdall, and let's see what we have here. So in the channels tile, you will be able to see alongside the general channel, which is a standard channel, and the management channel, which is a private channel, you can see here that we have even 2 shared channels, so software development and support and CSM shared channels. So think of this project Heimdall like a team that might be created. For example, I envisioned it to be, for example, a demo of a team that is working on a product. And as such, you might want in this team to invite people from software development who will be responsible for developing the tool. Maybe some support and CSM people who are then their task is to offer support and customer success management to your customers. So it might make sense to create a shared channel for those groups of people outside of this team and give them a workspace where they can together collaborate, maybe with some other users as well. For example, in this software development shared channel, you're able to see that Eva is an owner, but you have the developers and Project Heimdall teams that are teams that are also taking part on this shared channel and communicating and collaborating together. Project Heimdall, of course, is the host channel of this shared channel, but the developers team is an internal team that is not really in any way connected to the Project Heimdall team. It's a separate team, but with shared channels, we are able, so to say, to create a common workspace for the Project Heimdall people and for the developers people as well. Additionally, there is my user and my R&D team for my tenant that are also able to collaborate in this channel as well. For example, maybe my tenant, my R&D team is hired as some consultants, and with this they have a common workspace where they can work together with developers from the SysKit demo tenant as well. So this is more about the use of shared channels, but you can see how you from SysKit Point are able to see who the members are and from where they come from. A second useful tile in this detail screen is the teams tile, where you can see who the really teams are where this shared channel is present. So as you might know, when we create a shared channel, this shared channel in the Microsoft Teams client is present in the host team, but also in all the teams with which this shared channel is shared with. So we have the developers and R&D team. The R&D team is, of course, the external one for my tenant, but the developers team is part of this SysKit demo tenant. So when you go to Microsoft Teams, you will be able to see in the developers team the software development shared channel, but also in the Project Heimdall, you'll be able to see the same shared channel as well. So this information is clearly displayed here as well. And with any other shared channel, you are even able, any other channel type that is as with the private channels, you're able even to drill down to the site that is connected to the shared channel, and from there you are able to expand, see what the content inside of this shared channel is, what the permissions inside of this shared channel sites are. So you're able to do all the management actions you know and love from SysKit Point. Yeah, one other thing that I wanted to show you here is just the ease of how to enable Power BI collection in SysKit Point. So when you go to general settings, you're presented here the Power Platform section where you simply just enable this checkbox, save it, and you will be able to, and SysKit Point will immediately start collecting the data. Of course, you need to do some additional setup, hence why this checkbox is disabled by before. But we have this excellently written article in our documentation page that will walk you through all the steps needed. And if you really know what you do, you're more than less than 2 minutes ready to start collecting Power BI data in SysKit Point. So let's go back to the presentation. That's all about the demo that we have for you today. But just worth mentioning are some other additions and improvements that we added in this version. The first one is private channel actions. So now you are able from SysKit Point, to add owners or members to the private channels. You are able to promote owners, and that is promote members to owners and demote owners to members if you see, if you think those actions make sense. Those actions are can be performed by global admins and private channel owners as well. One other feature that we added that's worth mentioning is that SysKit Point now is syncing user extension attributes that some of you might be familiar with. And as well, with every version, we bring some performance fixes, some bug fixes, so the overall feel of SysKit Point is better, and that fewer errors happen during your usage of SysKit Point. And last but not least, what is coming soon in the next version of SysKit Point is some more Power BI features coming to SysKit Point. First off, we are improving the Excel reports that are currently need some upgrades from our side. But once we release the newest version, you will be able to really see this Power BI data that I showed you from SysKit Point in a really beautiful manner, even from the Excel and PDF reports as well. Also, we are going to add a special new report that is we are going to update the user access report you might know and love, so that it now displays even the access of the users across the Power BI workspace as well. So, for example, if my Mary Fern user that I hope you remember from the demo, if I wanted to see her access across the whole environment, now the user access report will even display her access inside of Power BI as well, which is really useful, I believe. Also, one big thing coming up is also the access reviews capabilities for private channels. So stay tuned for that, and stay tuned for the next webinar where we are probably going to talk about private access, that feature there as well. And of course, with any other new version, we are also constantly fixing bugs and giving some more optimizations to that tool. And yeah, that's all from me for now. So right now, I'd like to give back access to Patrick. So Patrick, whenever you're ready, please take over.
All right. Thank you, Josip, for the excellent presentation. So now it's time for a Q&A session. So please feel free to ask your questions, any questions that you might have, and yeah, use the Q&A function on your screen. So yeah, Josip, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Great. So yeah, common questions that we often receive as well, it's regarding if it would be possible to manage the shared channels through SysKit Point.
Most probably it will be. In this current version, we did not really focus about being able to manage those shared channels, but we don't really have any hindrance in that if Microsoft does support like third-party tools through the Graph API management of these shared channels, which they most probably do. I myself was not involved in the shared channels, so I'm not familiar with the details, but I am more or less like 90% sure that that it's possible to do. So it's just a matter of you as our customers just voicing your need for this kind of actions, and I'm sure we'll be able to think of something and really soon give you that ability even for shared channels.
Okay, great. Thank you, Josip. Another common question is if someone would be able to inspect the members of external teams that are inside of a shared channel.
So also, there's no technically we're able to do it, but for now it wasn't a big priority for us. So if there is a feature request and you as a customer are really hot to inspecting or like seeing who the really members of those external teams are, we by all means are able to do it. So just reach out for us, try out the tool, and let us know any thoughts or concerns you might have.
Okay, awesome, thanks.
And maybe a last common question that we receive is: are there any plans to let the SysKit Point collaborators to use the Power BI reports?
This is also something we thought about. For now, only Point admins are able to do so. But as always, you're able to generate those and export those reports. So you're able to, with some more steps, you would be able to let those collaborators know and see these kinds of overview of their workspaces, but currently not from SysKit Point. But as well, we were thinking about it and enabling access even to those collaborators to see and manage their own content. So that might be also a next step regarding Power BI and making it even making those capabilities inside of SysKit Point even more powerful.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Josip. We also received a question from Rahul. So thank you very much for the question. So he's asking if permissions are being managed by security groups for Power BI workspaces. Will SysKit be able to read granular details and list out the users with workspaces they have access to?
So yeah, I talked about the user access report before. So for example, if you were to generate a user access report for a user that has access to a workspace through this kind of security groups, the user access report would be able to show you that this particular user has access to this particular workspace B through this security group. So this is by all means achievable. And I mean, you can see even right now the same thing, not from the perspective of the user, but if you were to generate a report for a certain workspace and you were to encounter a workspace that has in which security groups have permissions on that workspace, you would be able to expand that security group node, and you would be able to see who these users are inside of the security group, and you would be able to see who these users are, and like in that granular manner that you, Raul, mentioned. I hope this answers your question.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, appreciate that, Josip, and thank you very much for the question, Rahul. So I don't see any additional questions coming in. We might give maybe additional seconds for someone if they would like to still submit. So just let's see if there are any questions that should come, but if not, of course, you will be always able to reach out to us after this webinar. Let's see if anything will come. Yeah, I believe that would be then it for today's session. So Josip, any last questions? Any last comments from your side? Sorry.
Oh, no questions from me, but any comments? Yeah, I mean, hope you find those features useful, and yeah, please do give them a try. Please do reach out if you're interested in a trial version. You guys who are existing customers, please do upgrade to the newest version and take a look at what we came up with. As always, like 90% of our features come from customers, so really passionate about hearing about your thoughts, how to even elevate further SysKit Point. So please do reach out and do not hesitate to do so.
Okay. Thanks, Josip. All right, so once again, thank you all for joining us for today's demo session. So as mentioned, everyone who registered for this session will receive a recording. If you have any further questions regarding SysKit Point or any of our products, please reach out to us at sales@syskit.com. It was a pleasure having you all here, so see you next time.
Bye-bye.